In the headlines, President Tinubu to swear in new ministers on Monday. Arraignment of suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele stalled as court adjourns case to August 23rd. Police arrest man suspected of raping 3-year-old baby in Osun. And on the foreign scene, ECOWAS military chiefs meeting in Ghana over Niger coup. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Abuja as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to inaugurate and swear in the newly appointed ministers of his cabinet at the State House Conference Center at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. The Director of Information at the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation made this known in a statement released on Wednesday. President Tinubu will earlier named Wale Edun as Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Bumi Tunji-Ojo as Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adebayo Adelabu as Minister of Power, and former Governors Nyesom Wike as Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Atiku Bagudu as Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, among others. The statement also says the ministers designated to be sworn in are expected to come with 2 guests each on the day. Now, the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, could not be arraigned at the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja on Thursday over the 6.9 billion naira alleged procurement fraud due to the absence of the first and second defendants. Emefiele was, however, present in the court for his arraignment. The presiding judge, Justice Hamza Muazu, adjourned the matter until August 23, 2023. Emefiele will be arraigned alongside a female CBN employee, Saada Tuyaro, and her company, April 1616 Investment Limited, on 20-count charges of procurement fraud, conspiracy, and conferring corrupt advantages on his associates. Emefiele has been in detention since he was suspended from the office of the Central Bank Governor on June 9th this year. Well, meanwhile, a federal high court in Lagos on Thursday morning threw out the criminal charges slammed by the federal government against suspended governors of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Justice Nicholas Owebo held that the prosecutor had not been diligent in prosecuting the case, adding that the prosecutors had showed disrespect to the court. Now, the Nigeria Governors Forum held an emergency meeting at the Forum Secretariat in Abuja on Wednesday night. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, also attended the meeting. Although journalists were not allowed to cover the event, the agenda distributed to the governors showed that the issues about the state and national security will be deliberated upon. Other items listed for deliberations include fuel subsidy palliative intervention by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a review of the National Executive Council agenda, and a brief on the new Electricity Act. The meeting was chaired by the Governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdurazak. Other governors in attendance include Babagana Zulum of Borno State, Hope Uzodinma of Imo, Ademola Adeleke of Osun State, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State, and Alex Oti of Abia State, among many others. Concerns for security are again mounting in the country following the recent killing of 21 military personnel, including senior officers, by suspected bandits at Kundu via Zungeru in the Wushishi local government area of Niger State. Now, the multinational Joint Task Force has commenced training on preventing and countering violent extremism in Jamina in Chad. From Diffa Town in Niger Republic, Adamu Gulde reports that the training exercise has been designed for soldiers deployed to the operational area. The report.
The Force Commander Multinational Joint Task Force, Major General Ibrahim Sallau Ali, while declaring open the training, emphasized its importance in equipping participants with the necessary knowledge and skills to prevent violence extremism in the MNJTF area of operation. Major General Ali lauded the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center and other partners for their support in organizing the training.
Security business is not just for the military or the security agencies. It's for everybody. The civil populace have a lot to play in ensuring that we bring an end to this crisis. We need a lot of information from you, a lot of intelligence, a lot of support, understanding, so that together we can bring an end to this crisis.
In his address, the commandant of the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center, Major General Richard Ado Giani, who spoke on behalf of the training center, highlighted that the surge in terrorism activities in the Sahel region is largely driven by violence extremism. He said the surge necessitated the training for security stakeholders across the region for effectively counter these threats, adding that it will enhance the capacity of participating troops to identify and prevent acts of violent extremism and ultimately contribute to the overall stability of the region. The training program will cover various aspects of countering violent extremism, including intelligence gathering, community engagement, and the promotion of peace and tolerance. From Diffa Town in Niger Republic, Adamu Gulde, Trust TV News.
Still talking security, the police in Plateau State has arrested 8 suspects in connection with the recent killings of people in Mangu local government area of the state. No fewer than 3 persons were killed last week by gunmen in Chia village of Mangu local government area. The Commissioner of Police, Julius Alawari, who paraded some of the suspects at the police headquarters in Jos on Wednesday, expressed his commitment to work in collaboration with other security agencies to deal decisively with criminal elements as he advised them to leave the state. He said he had carefully analyzed the security situation in the state and outlined kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery and gun running, theft, farmers-herders clashes, cattle rustling, attacks on villages were becoming more prevalent, especially in Bariki Ladi in Ruyom and Mangu local government areas of the state. The police boss warned criminals in the state to desist or be ready to feel the full weight of the law.
Also, while designing a workable security template for effective policing of the state, I noticed that there are certain local government areas that need more police stations and security presence. All those areas will be taken care of. We'll come up with strategies and also get in contact with our authorities to ensure that if there is need to build more police stations there, we'll do that.
Now, marketers at the Ilela International Market have been decrying low patronage occasioned by Nigeria's border closure with Niger Republic. Abubakar Imam reports that the weekly market has remained operational despite concerns of a possible military intervention by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to restore democratic rule in Niger Republic. His report.
The international market, which holds every Sunday, used to attract people from Niger, Mali and even Burkina Faso who either bring in their goods or come to buy our local products. Goods worth hundreds of millions are traded in this market, thus making it one of the largest international markets in the sub-Sahara region. But those foreign nationals have stopped coming since the border with the Niger Republic was shut down, leaving the local traders and customers lamenting over the poor turnout. One of the traders, Yahya Amarawa, said they were only attending the market as a symbolic gesture, but not for trading to make profits. Amarawa said the reason for the low turnout of customers in the market is the hike in the prices of some of the commodities due to their scarcity following the border closure. The market is not getting even one-third of its usual population. This has been a source of worry to us because we are not making any profit. We are only attending the market as a symbolic gesture. We pray and hope that our leaders will reconsider their decision because local businesses are negatively affected by the border closure. It also hikes prices of commodities. Can you imagine that a bag of corn costs as high as 50,000 naira now? We have never experienced this before. If you are selling 100 bags before, now you only sell 25 or 30 bags because we are no longer getting the patronage of the foreign nationals. They fear possible military action against the Nigerian military junta. Even those that usually come in on donkeys and motorcycles through the bush paths have stopped. It is the same lamentation at the animal section of the market as the soaring prices as a result of their scarcity said to be scaring people away from the markets. The business has not been flourishing for long because of the naira depreciation. The situation is further compounded by the recent border closure. Before, we were buying a donkey in Niger Republic at the cost of 40,000 sefa, which was roughly 30,000 naira. But 40,000 sefa is equivalent to 50,000 naira now. We used to get donkeys from Niger, Mali, and Algeria until they stopped coming in. Prices of sheep have also gone up due to their scarcity in the market. From Ilela border post, Abubakar Awal Imam, Trust TV News, Ilela, Sokoto.
Now to Osun State, where a 22-year-old man, Mustafa Adewale, has been arrested by the police for allegedly raping a 3-year-old girl. Now the mother of the baby reported the incident to the police, and the man later confessed to his crime. From Osun, Hamid Oyegbade tells us more.
The unfortunate incident occurred at Garaji Olode in Ife South local government area of Osun State. The mother of the 3-year-old baby went out in the morning and left her little daughter under the care of her neighbor, Mustafa Adewale. But before the woman returned back home in the evening, Adewale raped the little baby. The suspect, who confessed to the crime, blamed devil for his action. The woman left her baby under my care when she went out. The baby was sleeping. When she woke up, I bought biscuit for her. Then I raped her. Meanwhile, men of the command's anti-kidnapping squad have rescued 2 herdsmen from kidnappers. The victims commended the police for their swift response. The kidnappers demanded 3 million naira from us and threatened to kill us if we failed to pay the money. So we reported to police. The police public relations officer for the Osun State Police Command, Yemisi Okpalola, said one of the kidnappers was neutralized during gun duel with the policemen. She condemned the rape of 3-year-old girl and assured that the suspect will face the full wrath of the law.
Meanwhile, we also rescue a kidnapped victim from the kidnapper, and the kidnapper was neutralized. we are able to do that. And we assure you that criminal elements are going to be rooted out of this command.
The PPRO said the little girl is responding to treatment in the hospital. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Now, following the implementation of the fuel subsidy removal, Nigerians have been forced to implement cost-cutting measures to enable them survive the hardship occasioned by the policy. In Benue State, Trust TV's Jimmy Azande reports that one of the popular cost-cutting measures involves vehicle owners resorting to the use of public transportation to move around due to the hike in the price of petrol. His report.
Where some have parked their cars, others now use them occasionally to cut down the amount spent on buying premium motor spirit or fuel.
The problem is that you may decide whether you are working for fuel or whether you are working to get money to, settle your family bills. So, but the reality is that the fuel is taking the chunk of our earnings. So, like for me, I have a timetable now that I come to school 3 days in a week with the car, 2 days on bike, but on self though. But we have to devise means of adapting to the new situation.
In Makurdi Metropolis, where motorcycle operators popularly called Okada exist, most residents told Trust TV that they now prefer the option because it is cheaper and affordable.
It's actually very true that a lot of persons have parked their vehicles due to the high cost of PMS. If you want to be very frank and very true with yourself, you discover that it is more cheaper going with Okada, as people will call it now, more than going with your private cars. A lot of persons that have their vehicles have parked them because of the high cost. Let's take for example, like some people with their personal cars are parked, they prefer using the public transport instead of going with their own private cars. Because when you take how much you use to fuel your car to take you from, let's say for instance, from Makurdi to Boko, it's called that the amount you will use to fuel your car is very high compared to when you go with the public transport.
Except the situation improves, there are indications that more car owners will abandon their cars for public transport options.
Hike in the prices of petroleum products have made so many people to, of course, stop using their vehicles. Yes, it's true. I am an immediate victim of that. And I'm telling you that if this thing is not going to stop, more persons will park their cars as a result of this. Maybe it will be left for only government officials, people who are benefiting from the treasury of our government, that they will be using their vehicles. So it is very true that owners of vehicles have stopped using them, principally because of the hike in the prices of petroleum products.
To many, the Okada option that was Jasitin has become the best option for intra-city shuttles. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Right, you're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead after the break, we take a look at measures to mitigate the impact of flooding in communities. Details coming up next after the break. Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us. Here's a reminder of our top stories at this hour. President Tinubu to swear in new ministers on Monday. Arraignment of suspended CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele stalled as court adjourns case to August 23rd. Now, stakeholders from flood-prone communities in Bauchi State are seeking ways to mitigating the impact of flooding in a reaction to the recent report of a possible flooding across 19 states of the Federation. The communities among the 8 local government areas of the state that have been identified and are expected to witness heavy downpours, according to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. Trust TV's Adamu Imam reports.
Recently, the National Emergency Management Agency reported 19 states could witness excessive rainfall. This has caused fear in flood-prone communities across the country, with Bauchi not left out. In view of this, the State Environmental Protection Agency identifies stakeholders from those areas to brainstorm on how to mitigate the lingering floods and also prepare to avert the impending danger of flooding. Baikinkure area is among the 56 communities that always suffered flooding for many years.
We have been complaining that was not how the place was before. Some of the mistake made was by the state government much earlier. If you can look at that area where they wrote Paris furniture, there was a very big culvert then where this water is dropping. We don't know their reason they block it.
We need expansion of the waterways here. As you can see, everywhere is flooded. We usually deposit sand to allow cars to pass through.
Government will send some people, either government or whatever organization, they will send some people. They will come, they survey, they measure, they will put something to know the depth of the whole thing, but after all, they will not come and do any other thing.
Traditional rulers also contributed to effort geared towards tackling the menace, as according to them, flood affects all human endeavor.
We were sure the issues that were discussed and agreed on will be highly attended to, and by the grace of God, things will be over and definitely go back to our communities and enlighten them.
During the focus group discussion, environmental experts spoke on how best flooding can be averted even before it occurs.
Usually, either within the rainy season or during the dry season, of course, we're going to help our communities to sensitize about how they can use the environment.
The community engagement entertained several opinions from members on how to achieve the desired objectives of mitigating the impact of flood throughout the state. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has condemned the killing of at least 17 Nigerian soldiers in a recent ambush close to the border with Mali. In a statement released on Wednesday in response to the killing of the Nigerian soldiers, ECOWAS says that the country has become vulnerable because of President Mohamed Bazoum's ouster by the military junta. The West African bloc cautioned the coup plotters about the importance of adhering to its borders by re-establishing constitutional order. ECOWAS is calling on the CNSP military leadership in Niger Republic to restore constitutional order to focus on the security of the country that has become increasingly fragile since the attempted coup against the democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum. Taking it up a notch on the international scene and in a related development, West African military chiefs are meeting on Thursday in Ghana to coordinate a possible intervention aimed at reversing Niger's coup. But it appears the African Union disagrees with a military outcome. The meeting of the top brass on Thursday and Friday comes after fresh violence in insurgent-hit country, with terrorists killing at least 17 soldiers in an ambush. Meanwhile, there is, quote, widespread public anger in Ghana over some ECOWAS countries' willingness to participate in a possible military intervention in Niger Republic following the July 25th coup d'etat. The African Union has rejected an ECOWAS proposal to stage a military intervention in Niger unless the military junta seizes power and reinstates President Mohamed Bazoum. However, the AU's Peace and Security Council, which met in Addis Ababa earlier this week, had not issued a joint statement on the union's stance as of Wednesday. Meanwhile, the United Nations warned Wednesday that the ongoing crisis in Niger Republic could significantly worsen food insecurity in the impoverished African country, urging humanitarian exemptions to sanctions and border closures to avert catastrophe. Finally, in sports, the Saudi capital club Riyadh Al Ahly has been experiencing a surge of fans in its shops since the announcement of Neymar's transfer to Al Hilal. Fans have traveled from all over the country to buy the shirts of the Brazilian star, who signed a 2-year contract with the Saudi champions on Tuesday for an annual salary of around 100 million euros. With his transfer, the 31-year-old striker, who has just spent 6 years with Paris Saint-Germain, becomes the latest big name to be lured to the wealthy Gulf state. The former Seleção star is following in the footsteps of Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema and Sadio Mane by swapping Europe for the Middle East. The transfer market has been thrown into turmoil this year by the arrival of Saudi Arabia on the world football scene. A massive budget of $20 billion has been released by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to elevate the Saudi Pro League to superstar status. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Thank you very much for joining us. Feel free to follow us across social media for more content. And if you're looking for more news, visit trusttv.com. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.